and happy Tuesday. Today I have a read aloud for you, which are my favorite lessons to do because I love getting to share all of my favorite stories with you guys. So today's story is Miss Nelson is Missing. And this is one of my absolute favorite stories. I remember being probably your guys' age in second and third grade and hearing my teachers read this story to me, and it's just one of my favorites. So I thought how appropriate to share with you guys. So Miss Nelson is Missing. The kids in room 207 were misbehaving again. Spitballs stuck to the ceiling. Paper planes whizzed through the air. They were the worst behaved class in the whole school. "Now settle down," said Miss Nelson in a sweet voice, but the class would not settle down. They whispered and giggled. They squirmed and made faces. They're like pulling their eyes apart and going, so silly. But they're not listening to their teacher. They were even rude during story hour. She's doing a handstand. And they always refused to do their lessons. "Something will have to be done," said Miss Nelson. The next morning, Miss Nelson did not come to school. "Wow!" yelled the kids. "Now we can really act up." They began to make more spitballs and paper airplanes. "Today, let's just be terrible," they said. "Not so fast," hissed an unpleasant voice. Now, I already know what happens, but I want you guys to stop and think and make a prediction. Now, a prediction is a guess of what you think is going to happen next. And good readers always will stop and make predictions about what they think is going to happen next in the story. Let's see. A woman in an ugly black dress stood before them. "I am your new teacher, Miss Viola Swamp." And she tapped the desk with her ruler. "Where is Miss Nelson?" asked the kids. "Never mind that," snapped Miss Swamp. "Open those arithmetic books." Miss Nelson's kids did as they were told. She looks very scary. I would be really scared if that was the teacher that walked in, to the classroom. They could see that Miss Swamp was a real witch. She meant business. Right away, she put them to work, and she loaded them down with homework. Oh my goodness. Things aren't looking good for the room 207 kiddos. "We'll have no story hour today," said Miss Swamp. "Keep your mouths closed," said Miss Swamp. "Sit still," said Miss Swamp. "And if you misbehave, you'll be sorry," said Miss Swamp. The kids in room 207 had never worked so hard. Days went by and there was no sign of Miss Nelson. The kids missed Miss Nelson. No. I know that my kids in my class, sometimes they're probably like, Miss Chavez, she makes us do work all the time. We don't want to do it. But I do know the times that I've been gone, you guys have said, "We missed you. We don't want the sub. We want you to come back." So that's probably how these kids are feeling because you get used to your teacher. "Maybe we should try and find her," they said. Some of them went to the police. Detective McSmog was assigned to the case. He listened to their story. He scratched his chin. He said. "I think Miss Nelson is missing." Detective McSmog would not be much help. Other kids went to Miss Nelson's house. The shades were tightly drawn, and no one answered the door. In fact, the only person they did see was the wicked Miss Viola Swamp coming up the street. "If she sees us, she'll give us more homework." They got away just in time. Now, I'm going to stop and think, why is Miss Viola Swamp at Miss Nelson's house or really close to it. That's kind of suspicious or fishy. I don't know. What do you guys think at home? I'd like you to make a prediction about that. Maybe they just live close? I don't know. But it's definitely something to think about. Maybe something terrible happened to Miss Nelson. Maybe she was gobbled up by a shark, said one of the kids. But that didn't seem likely. Maybe Miss Nelson went to Mars, said another kid. But that didn't seem likely either. I know, exclaimed one know-it-all. Maybe Miss Nelson's car was carried off by a swarm of angry butterflies. But that was the least likely of all. So they can't figure out what happened to Miss Nelson or where she is. The kids in room 207 became very discouraged. That means they're giving up, they're losing hope, they're sad. It seemed that Miss Nelson was never coming back, and they would be stuck with Miss Viola Swamp forever. They heard footsteps in the hall. Here comes the witch, they whispered. Hello, children, someone said in a sweet voice. I wonder who it is. It was Miss Nelson. Did you miss me? She asked. We certainly did, cried all the kids. Where were you? That's my little secret, said Miss Nelson. How about a story hour? Oh, yes, cried the kids. Miss Nelson noticed that during story hour, no one was rude or silly. What brought about this lovely change? She asked. That's our little secret, said the kids. Let's see. Back home, Miss Nelson took off her coat and hung it in the closet, right next to an ugly black dress. When it was time for bed, she sang a little song. I'll never tell, she said to herself with a smile. Do you guys know what happened? Look, so this is Miss Nelson, and in her closet, there's a black dress, the same one Miss Viola Swamp wore. So who dressed up as Miss Viola Swamp? It was Miss Nelson the whole time. P.S. Detective Mick Smog is working on a new case. He is now looking for Miss Viola Swamp. I love this story. I think it has such a good twist to it. And the very first time I heard it, I never thought Miss Nelson would have dressed up as Miss Viola Swamp. But she had a plan the whole time to get her students to listen to her. And she knew that if she brought in a mean teacher and dressed up as one, when she came back, they would listen to her more. And so I love this story. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. And I hope you have a fabulous Tuesday, and I'll see you tomorrow.